SG Reads.
Hello fellow travelers, my name is SG and welcome to the channel. Today we'll be continuing on with the House of Blood comic, Kaiju Blues. Now I did do a review of issue number 1 just a few weeks ago, about maybe a month. And I recently got the copy of issue number 2. So I really did enjoy this one. I really wanted to share it and continue on with the series. If we do get more later on the line, I do want to continue the series. It's very interesting, very fun, and very unique in its own way. And so I really wanted to cover it and just describe how the storyline's going, what we learned so far, and what new theories that I have kind of brought up since the original video. But with all that being said, please leave a like, comment, subscribe down below. I am very close to reaching 500 subscribers, so please do leave a subscription. I would really appreciate it. And let's try to aim for 1,000, shall we? And please go support the original creator. I'll leave the link tree down below, along with where you can find the book, and of course information about the writers, artists, and all that down below in the description, and of course in the comment section. Well, alright, with all that being said, let's get into it, shall we? Kaiju Blues was created by Zach Chapman, art by Ty Pearson, and colors by Brad Clayton. This was published by House of Blood Comics and can be found on their website, and of course I'll leave a link down below where you can find all their current books and where they are currently with the next set of books. So, with that being said, let's continue, shall we? We start off right where we left the story originally, where Josh has finally gotten his original form back and has managed to fight his way back home. But now he has to deal with Nathan trying to tell him what exactly happened, when this device in his chest that controls the Rev Man suit tells him that he cannot tell him about the Rev Man abilities, or anything related to the Kaijus. And with that, Josh has to describe what happened to him in a simpler way, involving him just getting into a fight at a bar and ultimately having to limp his way back home, with Nathan trying to kind of understand the situation and trying to be a better friend than he has been as of recently, and Josh not really helping his own case, constantly complaining about not being able to play music with them anymore and try to start doing a record label. And that's where we kind of leave off, with Nathan going back home but saying he'll return just to check up on him, mainly because now he is actually worried about his own well-being. Maybe he's self-destructive, maybe not, but for right now we are left with these questions as Nathan does. But we see that the real truth behind it is that he was fighting these kaijus and was getting less than good results off of this fight, barely managing to crawl away from it all in all. And now with Nathan gone, the Rev suit wants to describe what he is, what Josh's main goal will ultimately be, and what lies in the future, and that being the origin of the Rev suit, with an original people called the Rev Lord. Much more of a unit of soldiers, if you will, if that being the right word, but we'll just call them the Rev Lords. The Rev Lords are separate from the Thrush. The Thrush are what we currently call them Kaijus, but they are two of the same kind of beings, just separated through, I guess you could call it, phases of evolution. Where the Thrush became wild or almost animalistic, the Rev Lords became more science-based, more mechanical-based, more machine-based, if you will. And when the Thrush came back, they decided to fight the Rev Lords over superiority. Now, we don't really know much more than the Rev suit has told us so far, but when they arrived here on Earth, they chose Host to kind of take over as the next Rev Lords, ultimately leaving Josh's father to become Rev Man, saying that ultimately it's not only the father's destiny, but also now Josh's. Now, we do know little about that from this point on, other than that, they really don't have an option in this matter. They are destined to fight the Thrush, and are destined to either win or ultimately lose, and in that form, the Rev Lord suits will ultimately go to the next host. But with that being said, that's where we are with the story. Now, that's just me giving a brief rundown of it all, and I would encourage everyone who wants to know the story in greater detail, go pick up the book on their website or wherever you think you can find it. There's definitely a lot of ways. You can probably find it on the description below in their store, along with they are currently in development of issue number 3 and several other kinds of books along the way. So please do go check out their sources, their materials, It really is an interesting and fun look around. But with that being said, let's move on, shall we? Now, let's get to our main protagonist and what we've learned from him since the first one. And honestly, not much, just that we know that he is still kind of in his own isolation. He's still trying to go and trying to get better with the people around him, still mad about his dad, still mad about his sister. But we do know that there is a sense of trauma there. Even Nathan kind of suggests that there is that bit of trauma around him. He just doesn't want to admit it just yet. So, what we do know about Josh at this point is that he is furiously denying the suit. He is not trying to cooperate with it at all. He wants to try to do his own thing, and to him it's the same thing as fighting his dad from before. So, the suit, in an attempt to try this, will try to make him be a better person. Ultimately, we'll just have to see how that turns out. So, for right now, we do know that Josh himself is becoming more of a legitimate character. Like I said, that's kind of the appeal of this character. We're seeing him at the very lowest of his time. So now all we can see is him rising up at this point. So I really can't wait to see how Josh evolves from this moment. How his friends coming back into his life will ultimately affect him. And maybe he'll understand his dad a little bit more at the end of this whole thing. And as for his sister, well, we do have our own theories, but we'll talk about that towards the end. I do really like the writing in this storyline, because it is very character-based. I do like the fight scenes, I do like the actions, but ultimately this is getting down to a study of Josh. This is telling how he's coming up from the very bottom, and I can respect that, and I do like that twist on the whole hero trope. And now we're getting different characters like Nathan into his life, and even Nathan's wife and or girlfriend that we do know Josh has been aware of for all this time, and may have even tried to put a wedge between them originally when they were in high school, is going to make appearances as well. Now we do know that this may or may not happen in the future, but you can tell that this is going to start hitting Josh in a more personal space. Even Nathan kind of admits that this is going to become something of a personal journey for himself. So where the writing and story I think are being structured is very well detailed and very interesting to see, and we really don't get that in most of these kinds of comics. And I'm really excited and can't wait to see how the story ultimately develops later on down the line. Ty Pearson really does come into this book just like he did in the first one. It does not lack at all, and continues on with the same style and the same kind of imagery that we see in the previous one. While there aren't many kaiju fights to be seen in this one, that doesn't mean it lacks in its artistic view. Like the scenes that we do get of him fighting the kaiju right after the first book is very well detailed and very kind of personalized. I do like and enjoy this style. Like I said before, it's definitely that mix of Invincible and a Godzilla comic. It does have that gritty, rough texture, while at the same time reminding itself that it is a hero comic ultimately. So I really do enjoy the art. And not only that, we do have as well Brad Clayton coming in with the coloring, and now we don't really see spaces wasted, I guess you could say. That would be my best place. Like every image, every panel in this has a place, and it doesn't seem like it's just dragging on. There is this sense of rhythm, there is a sense of flow to the artwork, and it does give these creatures, the kaijus, a threatening aura, and gives the heroic sense of Revman himself. And even when we get to the dream sequence where we see Revman or Josh trapped in a box in the middle of a stage with the crowd booing him, and we do see the kaiju approaching from above him, you can really feel the intensity of that scene through not just the imagery but the coloring, all of it working together to form a very nice and in sync view of what this world is and what it seems to Josh himself. So, the artwork, the coloring, all work together to make this book as great as it does along with the writing. Now, this is the part of the video I usually like to take time to talk about the future of the book, my theories on what's ultimately happening, or how the character development will work as we go along. Now, this doesn't mean I'm right, this doesn't mean I'm wrong. Ultimately, this is just me as a fan of the series, or just me being invested in the story, wanting to know what's going to happen next. What do I think is going to be the main story, what do I think is going to be the main kind of antagonist, or something like that. Just something that I can put down as being probable. So, for right now, let's get into it, shall we? Now, the one thing that I did take note of, that the suit does seem to make kind of a point to Josh, was when it says, "You are your predecessor's son." Now, that seemed interesting to me because Josh has done nothing but fight him this whole time, comparing the suit to his dad as far as he knew. Now, why would the suit say this? Because according to Josh, the dad was very much into this whole thing, willing to fight, willing to do more than we know. But if we go by what the suit says, we can learn that it wasn't always like that. Maybe the dad was just like Josh at one point, fighting the suit, wanting to live his own life, but ultimately having to take the burden of being Rev Man at the very end, trying to be his best version of himself, and trying to train his kids to be the next Mantle. We do know that Josh doesn't want to see it that way, but the suit himself may reveal more things down the line. Now, when we see the Rev Lords, we do see that there are about 4 of them. Now, the Rev Lords, we don't really know what happened to the rest of them, other than they split up at a certain point, but came back together on Earth to fight as defenders, choosing a host. Now, we do know that one Rev Lord, maybe the leader, has chose Rev Man himself. And that maybe another one of the Rev Lords has chose the sister to Josh as being Rev Girl. So that means there are probably 2 different candidates either around the world or still in the shed of Josh's dad's house. And there will be more Rev Lords taking on different hosts now. Maybe Nathan will become one, maybe his wife or girlfriend will be. Those people that Josh trusts will most likely have some important part in the future. But again, this is just me kind of making my own hypothesis about what's happening. Mainly due to the fact that we will see at least 2 more Rev characters coming out later on. But, as I said before, 2 more, but there are 4. So does that mean I think Rev Girl's still alive? And the answer is yes. Because they left Rev Man pretty much there to die alone. But they took Rev Girl back to wherever they were going, back to wherever lair they have. We don't really have confirmation if Rev Girl is dead. So, my theory is that she's still alive somewhere captive, and it's possibly even in that box that Josh saw in his dream. Maybe that's just a hint to where she is, and maybe that's just the Rev suit connecting them together. And maybe this will play into sometime in the future. So for right now, I have to have the theory that Rev Girl is still alive, captive, and maybe they're trying to extract the Rev Lord suit from her. Or trying to at least, but for right now that's all we know, and that's my theory on what's going to happen in the future. With that being said, let's move on to our final thoughts. Issues 2 are always hardest to find because you're following the first book, and this one I think follows it to a T. It doesn't really feel like its own entity, it feels like it meshes together. Like if I were to read them side by side, there would be no cutting. There'd be no break. And so this is very well done, very well crafted. The storyline is going very well. The artwork is top tier as usual. And I really can't wait for the next issue to come out. I even can't wait for more of the same creators, different works. I do want to read more of the different material that they have. And like I said before, if you want to see some of the House of Blood comics, you can find them on Kindle Unlimited. Along with, I'll leave a link down to the link tree and the store down below, so you could go check out some of their own material, some of their own works, or different books that they have. I fully insist upon it. And I would like to say thanks again for allowing me to read your books and allowing me to have my own view and perspective on them. And with that being said, thanks again for watching. I hope you guys enjoyed this video. Please support the original creator. Please leave a like, comment, subscribe down below. I'd really appreciate it. And I can't wait to see you guys next time. Have a great one, and see you later.